Support for this show is brought to you by novel Till the Bitter Endemic. What if there was a happy ending to a pandemic? Perhaps an unexpected love story. After Daisy gets thrust into mandatory quarantine for an infection she can't explain, it's up to her to unravel the truth as to what's behind it and what she can ultimately do to escape it. But she can't do this alone, and that's where she finds not only herself, but a very special person that opens their heart for the betterment of their survival. Find out how in Till the Bitter Endemic. Available now on Amazon in all major formats.
Greetings and salutations, all you beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Art of the Beholder, a show dedicated to all things eclectic in the world of art, where we do deep dives into deep cuts and help you understand why damn things matter. I'm your host, Novo Day, and today we're going to be talking about art and, well, everything, chronicling our thoughts on the best of what 2025 had to offer. To hash things out, we're once again joined by our reigning champion. That is Mr. Philip Church of philipchurch.com. Welcome back, sir.
Winners deserve the best. So what can I say? It's very honoring to be here, but I earned it.
You definitely earned it. And in the spirit of that, let's talk about our year a little bit before we talk about the best things of the year. Last year, we joked a lot about the fact that I felt like it flew by. You felt like it was going at a snail's pace. And I'm curious if we're on the opposite ends of the spectrum again, because this year felt very long to me. My God.
This one flew by.
It happened.
It's
it
wild
happened,
that it's already
baby.
over. I genuinely do not understand it. Every time I realized what month it is, it was actually the second to last day of that month.
Yeah.
That was my whole year. It was just going, what? And that was it. I did that 12 times.
We are going at...
It's not a bad thing necessarily.
It's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing.
Usually, if you're crazy busy, usually if it's relatively a good year,
It has
it
been a
tends to
busy
fly
one.
by.
If
Yes.
I'm being honest, it's been busy.
So it's not usually necessarily a bad thing.
I'm not dumping on 2025.
So I'm not sure if I've talked about this on air. Part of the reason that our year was so unique is that we got a brand new dog. His name is David Bowie, but friends call him Bowie. So guys call him Bowie. And he's an Australian shepherd that has been nothing but absolute chaos. Since the day we got him, things are better now. And so if you're wondering, all you beholders out there, why our production speed has slowed a bit, instead of the weekly episodes we're doing every 2 weeks, sometimes a little longer, it's because of one David Bowie, not the artist,
Little
but
DB.
the dog.
And hey, you know what? Quality over quantity, my man. Quality over
yes,
quantity.
that is another thing I wanted to talk about in our 2025 retrospective before we go into our best of categories is it has been a year of transition for us. We are figuring out what the next decade is, and we have kind of found a home in a lot of regards, and we're going to be trying to change, evolve, as we've talked about in previous shows. But of course, ultimately, we're trying to always get better, be better. And I think in 2026, we will definitely strive for a more perfect union, as we always do. And I think we will be better. And to Philip's point, yes, I think a quality over quantity approach will be one of the driving factors. And so I look forward to it. And before we dive into the show, I just want to say thank you to everyone. You, Philip, the people listening, the beholders. It's been another year of evolution, and I can't wait to continue to evolve and see what the next year brings and the year after that, and see how we change, see how what new things we can bring the world, what new pieces. And we couldn't have done this without the amazing people that are listening and our audience. And again, more and more that I get to know you amazing people. Yes, the artists that help us to the next level year after year, and the amazing people we get to meet and promote on the show and kind of see them grow. I've befriended a lot of people. That's why Philip got on this show to begin with. And it's been amazing, to see how different careers have grown and prospered and blossomed. And it kind of it completes us. And so we want to say thank you to all you wonderful, wonderful people and all you beholders. Thank you so much. With that being said, let's tell the good people, if you're new to the show, if you haven't,
If for some reason this is your first, I mean, hey, welcome. It's a weird point, but here's your Cliff's Notes. We talk about stuff, and here's our best of
2025. What the best of what 2025 had to offer. So let's go over the rules as we like to do every year,
because I forget them every year. I go, hey, what does this word mean? And
no, it's what gets Philip every year is seasonal television. And he goes, is it like is it spring? Is it fall? Or which is it summer? No, like seasonal as in
winter, and winter technically started last year. Does it count?
The semantics that is television and streaming, the season of the show annually.
Look, sometimes when you're constantly looking at words on a screen for your job, you have a little bit of a short circuit because you're like, how do I interpret this? And you're like, Philip, this is not art. I'm communicating to you with words. This is a sentence, like from person to person. This is not a novel. Just read it and understand it. And I'm like, oh, that didn't help me at all. Tell me. And then you still have to tell me.
Yes. So what we're going to do, guys, is we are going to give you what we think is the best in a variety of artistic categories. So best in Philip, seasonal television, best in limited series, best in film, best in music, best in miscellaneous, where we kind of talk a little bit about everything, maybe a new painting, a piece of photography, multimedia, a sculpture we saw. Maybe it's new to us. I feel like Philip was asking me about this backstage, and I said, well, ideally it's going to be something that was introduced to us in 2025. So the best thing of this year in said category, but it can't, there's no rules, guys. It can be new to us because it may be new to you. So we want to still give the love because that's what we do here. We appreciate, we don't hate.
I'm pickier as I get older, so I am not always up on all of the new things, but there's also more new things than ever. There's just there's more movies and music and books and everything than ever. So it really is tricky. It does get difficult. So I have a bit of a fudge or two on mine. They are newer things, but they're not all
fudge or two.
Yeah, a bit of I'm fudging it just a little bit.
That kind of fudge. Yes, I definitely. I'm just for the record, I definitely have. It's new to me this year. It's
I have
not
a couple of
new
those,
to 2025.
to an extent.
But for you good people listening, you beholders, it'll probably be new to you guys too. So if you get the chance to check it out, check it out. We do our best to try to pick one thing in each category, but sometimes it's impossible. Like music is so hard year after year.
What? Like just one thing?
This year definitely was hard. Last year was hard. So I have a few. I will kind of shine a light on what I think is the best. There will be honorable mentions, but we do our best, guys. And at the end of the day, it comes down to some of our humble opinions. I know you guys have amazing opinions about things, so just leave it in the comments. And I know we'll find some middle ground. We learn a lot from you guys as well, too. So throw us what you think is the best of your year, and I know we'll collaborate as we always do. So there's a lot to get into. There's a lot of juicy meat. Before we do, guys, we're going to take a little break. Hear from our sponsors.
Juicy meat.
Juicy.
The best way to say thank you and to support us is by donating to the cause. In doing so, you'll be able to help us help fellow artists, creatives, and colleagues, promoting their work, the community as a whole, and why we got into this line of work to begin with, to not only make art, but also shine a light on our peers and the gems of the world. For all the hidden ones and the not so hidden that make life worth living, because if we can make things even a little bit better, it'll all be worth it. But we can't do this without you. So please, donate today. And remember, even a little goes a long way to build new bridges, new worlds, and new opportunities. Link and details on how can be found in the show notes below. Because together, we can do anything.
And we are back to do the thing, to conquer the world, as we like to say, and tell you what is the best of 2025 in the arts, in entertainment, industry. Again, we're going to do our very best, guys, to pick the very best option of each category. So let me give you the rundown real quick. We have Best in Television, Seasonal, Best in Television, Limited Series or Anthology, Best in Film, Best in Music, Best in Writing, Best in Gaming, Best in Animation, and then what we call Best in Miscellaneous categories. So traditional art, photography, sculpture, anything that doesn't fit into the categories above. So with that being said, let's dive in. We're going to start with Best in Seasonal Television or Streaming.
Was actually a pretty good, I feel like, year for seasonal things.
I agree. I had the most here.
As mentioned up top, there has never been more media being produced.
Yeah.
It is very hard to keep up with the things.
Yeah.
Trying to pick just one for myself personally, luckily wasn't too hard, at least as far as this first one goes, because I was pretty stoked on Alien Earth, and I'm pretty stoked for what, again, it's supposed to have a season 2 and therefore be actual seasonal. So hopefully it doesn't turn into limited. But yeah, Alien Earth was bad on multiple fronts. They did not hold back. I mean,
episode 2 alone was like, Jesus tap dancing Christ.
They just went in.
The xenomorph is tearing up this amazing themed party of these aristocrats.
In a way, the wanton violence of it harkens back to one of my favorite entries in the franchise, which, Novo, I know that we've discussed on this show before, which was Alien vs. Predator 2, also known as Requiem.
Alien vs. Predator.
So,
Indeed.
Yeah, I love that they lean into the fact that, okay, when we get to the alien parts, this is what you want. This thing is a murderous life form. It does one thing, and it is annihilate things around it. So here you are. Here's this, but then also you get corporate espionage type of stuff, and just what socio-political / topic aren't we going to touch in this show? So it had all the things.
Alien Earth was my close second. It was my number one for a while until I actually texted you about this. It's Pluribus. It is so hard to talk about it without giving out spoilers, but in the first episode, it reveals of this crazy premise. But I do like the tagline because I think it's vague enough. It is the most miserable person in the world has to save the world from happiness. I don't want to dive too deep into the plot. I will just say, guys, Pluribus is some of the best science fiction I've seen in the longest time. The showrunner is Vince Gilligan, Gilligan from Breaking Bad. Yeah. He wrote, created the show, and with his team of amazing filmmakers and artists, they are giving us something so new and fresh and so apropos to our times, especially in regards to artificial intelligence, though there's so many layers to the show because this was conceived before AI was even a thing, but it works on so many amazing levels that you will see that it is such an allegory for our relationship with artificial intelligence, amongst other things. Guys, check it out. That's my number one, Pluribus on Apple TV. But a close second is indeed Alien Earth. And I have a few honorable mentions. And I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to say real quick, I'm going to give some honorable mentions too. But this is like shows that are almost have kind of a legacy now behind them. I wouldn't say their legacy shows are not that long standing, but they have enough amazing quality to their previous seasons that this is no surprise. So Andor, The Bear, Severance, Hacks, some true honorable mentions is our modern version of sitcoms. So Running Point on Netflix and The Paper, actually a spinoff of The Office. What I want to watch that's on my radar that I just haven't gotten a chance to watch but everyone's loving that would probably deserve a spot on this list is The Pit.
There's more stuff than ever. How do we keep up?
But between Pluribus and Alien Earth, if you haven't checked those two out, dear God, you're in for such a treat. Now, best limited series in television or streaming.
There is a Netflix series that
we may overlap here. Go ahead.
It's only 4 episodes.
They have amazing wonders. And yep, we're overlapping.
The
For sure.
directing is part of what made it so captivating, as well as the fact that it is, I believe, if not a true story, a incredibly inspired.
It was inspired by
Adolescence. Are you me?
No, I'm not you. Well, that's what you didn't hear me. I said the wonders, the one take long shot.
Yeah.
Episodes.
No, I heard you. Okay. I was just like,
I thought you were gonna pick up that I was echoing that this is my best of as well. But yes,
we've done it.
Adolescence,
again.
Baby.
Yeah,
Adolescence
that
is
hit
amazing.
Hard. That was some fine. That's some like HBO, nearly up there with like a
it was excellent.
detective up there. With just
it raised the bar too on filmmaking with the wonders, with the one take long shots.
Like I remember multiple times throughout the episode, I kept even doubting myself. I was like, have they cut? Did I miss something? I was like, what?
I did the same thing. I had to look it up. And I was like, what is off? Not off. What am I seeing that I'm not used to?
The way you must have to write while essentially directing in your head of that amount of creative focus to have it so that you are getting story from all perspectives.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Naturally flowing in and out of different, sometimes side ancillary characters, whatever, a quick one-off to this person. But even the way they still managed to transition between the main characters, where they are essentially opposite parties. You've got a detective and then the victim, the suspect, the suspect's family, victim's friends, etc. And it's not like it all stays in one room. Right. I mean, it goes, it's that
I had to actually study how they made the episodes, and they invented some new techniques, because just think about a camera operator getting tired from holding the camera too long. So they had to switch.
Yeah, I can't even just a smartphone. I can't imagine having to do this for an hour.
Yeah. So they had to switch in the middle of an episode, and they had to make it look seamless. Like little things like that are invisible to us, that are just like,
I'm sure amazing. Occasionally it's like, if you could probably go back and find the occasional 5 to 10 seconds of actual like stillness, that's a transition, I would bet.
Right.
That is the Brian's tapped out, let's get the second guy in and then get the third guy lined up.
Get Gary, Roger.
Yeah, like, Ted's in, Brad did great, Gary's up third. Other than that, just again, in the action, in the conversations. Now, again, not action necessarily, but still, there, there's a chase scene in this. Was that the first? That's part of what tripped me up, though, was when I was trying to like think about it again. I was like, because it's all so fluid, I was like, is that first episode or second, or is that second or third? It was really hard sometimes to sort of make those delineations because of how fluid and just consistent it just goes. And again, it's not that it's 4 episodes. It's insanely unique on that premise alone, of the fact that it is 4 one-take episodes. Yeah, that's pretty rad, and an accomplishment, on top of it being a gripping story, well acted. Like all the trimmings are there. But like the main gimmick there, I say gimmick, that again, that's not a good, it sounds like a cheap word. The main feat is Herculean of its own, as well as innovative as all hail.
Adolescence was mine as well. So I couldn't have said it better myself. Philip
couldn't have bet it better.
Philip nailed it. And I'm glad we overlapped on at least one. Guys, so if you are indeed
everything
new,
else is going to actually, no, there's probably gaming.
No, well, we'll see. Yeah,
there's
gaming,
gonna be gaming
for sure.
There's going to be gaming.
But for you good people that may not know, we do these blind. So we do not reveal what the other person has, so we can have fun with this on air. So it
genuinely makes
I am
more
learning,
engaging for you guys to hear us actually reacting to each other. I don't know. None of us never. Okay, first off, who knows what I'm ever going to say? But I definitely don't know what Novo is going to say.
But it makes it more fun for us. It makes it more fun for you guys, and it makes it fresh every time when it's a genuine surprise, especially when we land on the exact same one like that. That is like chef kiss, beautiful, love it. And that brings us to, of course, best in film.
This one was tricky.
This one was hard. I actually had to do some serious soul searching.
This is also one of my fudges, because I tried really hard to bring it down to 1.
So it's just new to you this year, but not 2025.
And it's been a long year. there's been a lot of stuff, and I have seen my share of very good movies this year. Interestingly, one of mine is listed as having come out last year, but I believe that's because that is when it released to things like film festivals and when it actually wrapped production, because it didn't make it to theaters until this year, I promise you.
So we can allow it on a technicality if
Yeah.
it was
Again, I saw it this
released
summer.
this year.
It was
Okay.
actually released in theaters, and that might have already been enough of a
Ooh,
tell. And
what
if
is
not,
it?
I'll just
Yeah.
go ahead and release it, let the cat out of the bag.
Go ahead.
As y'all know, I am Flanagang for life. And
Oh my
speaking of
God,
life,
yes.
Life of Chuck.
Oh man.
That
That's number
movie,
1?
that's my big one. And then
Oh,
that movie,
I still
it like
haven't
changed
had the
me. It
chance.
impacted me so deeply.
Oh God, I
I
gotta watch it now.
in the best way, like I cried throughout a whole bunch of it.
Yeah.
It terrified me at a couple of moments. It genuinely had
Wow.
me like feeling just existential dread, and then it also had me
Okay.
feeling joy. It runs the gamut. It is a masterpiece.
It hits every
It's
single.
so good. It is
It fires on every
amazing.
cylinder.
And then my close second, just because it came out later in the year, and it's very opposite of that in a way, but also is very on brand for me. It was I
Yeah.
gotta give it up to good old G. Delt's Frankenstein.
I did get a chance to see that one. That was
Really
excellent.
good.
Really
Really
good.
good.
Mine was actually one I thought you were going to say, but will at least nerd out together now. My number 1 is Sinners.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
Sinners is my number 1. Now, let me say this. And I think a lot of beholders may cringe a little bit at that choice, because is it the most artistic film of the year? No, but I think it's a perfect marriage of artistry and kind of what we often call a popcorn kind of film, like Maverick or Top Gun or Mission Impossible, or insert your favorite popcorn film here, right? Like, it's entertaining, but it's not necessarily going to change you. It's not going to have deep existential questions and quandaries, things like that. Now, I think Sinners, because it touches on race and culture and so many things, I thought it was a perfect marriage between something very artistic, but something just very entertaining vis-a-vis the vampires.
You could still
And
tell it was
the
personal,
fantasy part.
right? I
Yes.
mean, you could still clearly tell that what the director was talking about with,
And the
things about
musicality
being
of
black
it.
in America, cultural appropriation,
Right.
etc.
Oh, wait, I think it had a lot of deep things to say.
Yeah,
A lot of
it did. It
allegorical
did a
things, a
great
lot
job
of
of being
things
both a popcorn movie, but having very
like strong, bold ideas
intense personal
and
ties, clearly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I loved that it was all rooted with music. Me and Philip are huge music lovers. Actually, every OG family member of NDP is a huge music buff. And so anything that touches on music, like Sinners did, is just leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of other things in my book. A close second was, or I should say honorable mentions, not necessarily close seconds and thirds, but Weapons, I think, was up there for me. And probably a film a lot of people didn't see, which is Black Bag. And this was kind of like a spy, espionage, secret agent
Oh, yeah.
kind of story, kind of caper, mostly spy versus spy kind of story.
Is that not almost like a more grounded, less silly Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Is that not about a couple or something? I
Yes.
remember seeing things
Yeah.
about Black Bag. I remember thinking that looks really intriguing,
And
and I just forgot
it's a
about it.
small film.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
just
lower budget, small film.
slipped off my radar, and I
It's
never got
almost
to it.
it almost is kind of shot like a play, to be honest. I will say this too before we move on, is another one kind of like The Pit. What I wanted to watch, it's on my radar. It would probably have been on this list if I had a chance to see it before we actually made the show. Is One Battle After Another. I haven't been able to see that, but I just have this feeling, knowing my taste and kind of seeing how critics are already responding to it. I'm like, this is gonna be something I absolutely fall in love with. I love Paul Thomas Anderson, the better kind of PTA. And it's just something I haven't been able to see yet. I know I will. It just, by the time of this taping, it just hasn't happened. Next on our list, guys, is Best in Music.
This is another one of my fudgier ones.
This one was
in
hard.
that
This one was
this
really
is
hard
probably
for
the
me.
thing that I'm the most picky about.
Oh God, yes.
I don't know why, but music is the thing that I become overly obsessed with specific things, and I won't be able to let them go until they tell me that they're done with me.
Yeah.
There was a band I found out about, and they were definitely a gem of mine earlier in the year, but I really wound up going on to listen to them, and their most recent album came out late last year. So because it is newish, it's new enough, but it
Yeah.
was very new to me when I found out about them in the spring.
Yeah.
Is I'm still gonna give it to an album called The Law of Augmenting Returns by that
Hmm.
trio of basically like sort of prog metal, I guess you could call it, called the Omnific, Australian, some
Hmm.
blokes from down under. It's two bassists and a drummer, and they're all insanely talented, and it's really cool the things that they can think up music wise when you would think like, wow, two basses and a drums, that sounds boring and dumb. You wouldn't be the only person thinking that, and you would hopefully you would end up being like, I was wrong, because I sure was.
It's
So
a lot
they
of
impressed the hell out
rhythm
of me.
sections.
I had hoped that they would come to the States. They did some touring,
Yeah.
but not as as the headliner. They toured
Mm.
with some other acts, so none of those came here. So I had hoped to see them. They're insanely talented. My sort of makeup, which is my personal very, very close second, was Queens of the Stone Age's Alive in the Catacombs. It was
Okay.
so cool. I loved not only these acoustic reimaginings, if you will, of some of their songs, but the fact that they are the first band to ever get to perform in the Paris catacombs,
Mm.
and the amount of stuff that went into them figuring that out of, hey, we're down here in the dark. There's no electricity. We can't plug into stuff. That could be a fire hazard. All these things that they had these little hand cranked like generators that were down there with them. They had all this neat stuff to rig it up so that they could film it, have all the microphones set up, as far down as they sort of wanted to be in there. And that
Yeah.
they added, string arrangements, all these extra instrumentations. Some of them were simpler. Some of them was a more stripped away drums with acoustic guitar. Some of it was more just like an acoustic version of some of their songs. Some of it was bigger in ways than it's ever been. So I thought it was really rad, and that there was a video component to go with it. It wasn't just audio. So I like that they went multimedia with it. So again, my favorite band did something really cool. I loved that. And a newer band has become one of my newer favorite bands. So those are my best of musics.
My best in music, man, this may surprise you. So I'm on the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Zappa.
Posthumous Zappa,
Mm.
which we're going to do an entire episode on just for Philip next season. He can't stop talking about it. And maybe if we have time, a Weird Al
Oh, 2026 is
retrospective.
100%. Every episode is going to be about Weird Al. We're going to
We're
talk
gonna
one
do
album, one song at a
one
time.
out, yeah. One every
episode
week
per
is one
song.
album. Right. Oh man, okay. We
Oh.
have some work to do, guys. Jesus Christ.
No, I got this.
Now, before we do that, I want to tell you about an album that I think will surprise a lot of you and definitely Philip. I wonder if you've even heard this album. So the album is called Golliwog, and it's by Billy Woods. It's hip hop rap. And every few years, and guys, don't take out the pitchforks. Every few years, I'm like, is this the year we're finally going to just
You get rap rock up there.
no, realize that rap is dead, that rap and hip hop is dead, and then there's somebody that brings something new to the table. And Billy Woods did that with Golliwog. It is a approach to rap and hip hop I haven't really heard before, with a theme, and you're going to love this, Philip, of horror.
Ooh.
So the album is thematically built like a horror film or horror experience. And the Golliwog is like a mythological
I was going to say
creature.
that actually, it does sound familiar,
It
but I was like,
sounds
I did not
like,
listen to this album, but I've heard of Golliwog. I was like, why?
yeah, it
Because of
sounds
horror.
like a boogeyman
Because
type of
I'm a
creature,
nerd.
something like that. And so now it's not going to be one of those experiences where it's going to be an earworm and you feel like you're going to want to listen to it every day for a month straight. This is one of those truly artistic pieces that I just realized, man, this really raised the bar. So I maybe listened to it once or twice in the last year, but as I was going through the catalog of albums that I listened to this year to prepare for this piece, and I really had to do some soul searching to say, what was the shining best? I kept going back to this album of thinking of like, man, this is so different. This is so innovative, so progressive, and something I really fell in love with. And surprisingly, it was in the genre of rap and hip hop, which again, I usually am a little, not, I wouldn't say critical of, but I just feel like sometimes I feel like they've done everything they have or they could in the genre. Everything's been done, kind of thing. And then someone surprises me, and it was a very very pleasant surprise. Now I have a lot, so I'm going to go through these quick. I have a lot
Here it goes. I was
of
like, here it is.
yeah, I have a lot of close seconds and thirds and some honorable mentions. So in the running for best of was a musician that goes by the moniker Sharp Pins. He put out 2 albums this year. Very ambitious young man. I think he's a young cat. The albums are Radio DDR and Balloon Balloon Balloon. Artist Lucrecia Dalt. The album is A Danger to Ourselves. Rochelle Jordan, Through the Wall. Rosalia's Lux, Excellent. Sudan Archives, The BPM. Mark Pritchard and Thom Yorke's Tall Tales. And then true honorable mentions is Deftones' Private Music, Mdou Moctar's Tears of Injustice, and an album that, in my opinion, got way too much hate, and that is Tame Impala's Deadbeat. And I think I like Deadbeat because I'm not a huge Tame Impala fan, like this like diehard, I've listened to every tiny little thing that Kevin Parker has done. No, I just thought it was a fun take on his version of kind of EDM. It's like his EDM album instead of psych, rock or whatever. And I thought it was great. Good, great, solid, fine for the most part. And I was surprised to read so much hate about it. Guys, give the guy a break. I thought it was just fine.
You do better. Get out there and make your own music, you jerks.
I know. It's
there. I said what you wanted to, Nova. I'll be the bad guy. You know I love being bad cop.
Art is hard. Art is hard. Now, best in writing, again, we do this every year because it doesn't have to just be a novel or a novella or whatever. It can be writing in anything. So writing in a film, so like a screenplay, writing in television. But of course, traditional writing. So literature, novels, graphic novels, etc.
One of them is a bit of a stretch, and the other one is just very dorky. This was actually a very good year for comic books. I want to give a big shout out to, well, not necessarily just one of the newer comic book stars. Scott Snyder has been writing a whole bunch of stuff ever since he was given the chance to come to the big leagues on Batman a handful of years ago. And he's still doing really cool things at DC. And he's putting out this wild version of the DC universe, which is pretty cool. So I want to give him a shout out. Really, I want to say more that, I don't know why, but I've come to love Spider-Man as a comic book more and more. And the person who's currently on him is really good at balancing the fact that Peter Parker's an actual genius.
Yeah.
On top of him being literal chatty Cathy, just cannot stop talking ever, as well as a very heart of gold
chatty Cathy
superhero.
Guys. Yeah.
So good writing. Really, I like the plot. And the fact that you can kind of tell which books they're backing as far as writing goes, according to how good the art is. So I want to give a shout out to Joe Kelly, who was writing Amazing Spider-Man of this year. And one of my more stretches, it's more that as a documentary, it's not always necessarily what you write. It's about the things you find, but you still have to write the story. You still have to frame it as well as tell it the right way. And I do want to also give props to the documentary called I Like Me. That is about John Candy.
I did get a chance to see that. That was great.
I don't know that I've ever actually taken the time to learn about John Candy. And I've always loved John Candy. I don't think there's a thing about him that I've ever heard. That
film treasure. I was about to say national treasure, but he's Canadian. So Canadian national treasure.
Yeah. And so I really want to give a shout out though to in the way that writing applies to documentaries and the fact that they made a really good one.
I agree.
So the way that they were able to weave people's narratives together.
Right?
Yeah, it really was. And because there's actual fact there, right? I mean, they were telling the story about a person. Yeah. So there is storytelling to it. So I think in a way, again, when you're not even telling a story that you have actual control over, it kind of goes to show that you're able to work with material that is really almost nothing that you produced outside of the fact that you did get some people to tell stories about these things, right? That they are sharing rendition of events. So it's almost like storytelling within storytelling. So it's just it was really nice. It was very sweet. I really liked that documentary.
Yeah, it pulls at the heartstrings for
Yeah.
sure. Mine is probably the deepest cut I've ever done on our best of shows. So there was a monologue, just one monologue that was written in one episode of a show that stood out to me to be so priceless that literally after I listened to it, I looked to Del Rio, looked to my wife, and I said, I wish I would have written that. Like, it was so good, it was so priceless, it was so powerful in a very small, concise way. And that is what is now known as the Frank monologue from the White Lotus, season 3, episode 5, entitled The Full Moon Party. And it was written by the showrunner Mike White. And that brings us to Best in Gaming.
Claire Obscure.
Yep.
I don't know.
Now, I let me ask you a question, but I can see you're thinking about how you want to start this conversation. Now, we did our very last episode of the season was all about Expedition 33.
It's kind of why I wasn't sure what else I need to even say.
Well, you don't have to say a lot because, guys, click here. You guys can check out our full topical long form episode on.
Which way am I going to point? Put the link. Where is it? Where is it?
On Expedition 33. But no, we did talk about this backstage. We talked about this a little bit, and he didn't even tell me which, he told me which game. I asked him what his best of was earlier in the year, and he said Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, and I was so shocked to hear that.
Despite my
I was so shocked to hear that.
I'm not giving it perfect marks necessarily. I'm just saying.
And I realized I wanted to save it for this show because that is definitely. I didn't tell this to Philip when we talked about it a month-ish or so ago when we were talking about the best of show. But he told me his, and in my head I was like, oh, well, that's mine too. So mine is indeed Claire Obscure, Expedition 33.
We both knew that.
but it's I think I wanted to save it for the show because I'm surprised you had such a glaring criticism of the narrative. So why is it still? I think we can just leave it on your opinion. We can move on to best in animation after I understand why it's still your game of the year.
It's still gorgeous. It still has a really rich world. Just because I don't like specific plot beats doesn't mean I don't like the world that was built, that I didn't get attached to the characters. Really, to just beat this dead horse even more, the innovations to classic turn-based RPGs
I will
is
say that.
so
the gameplay
cool.
Yes.
On top of, yes, I get that in just about any decent turn-based RPG that is the whole point, is that everybody is pretty unique and that you get to kind of customize of like, oh, I've got, like 2 swordsmen and a ranged caster, or like, oh, I've got, like a healer of my black magic and a tank, whatever it is. But the way that this is that you can make any individual your tank and or a healer, or negate the need for a healer, thanks to how rich the equipment / character setup is. The depth to the full character / combat thing is just groundbreaking. They did such a good job. And so it was that rich world full of secrets, full of, cool little bits of extra dialogue that were brilliantly acted, right? That it's just the one thing. It was just a plot point that really took away from it. That was the only thing. Everything else is about as top of marks as I'd be willing to give most things. And I will still give a close follow-up to Silk Song. While it is not a carbon copy of the first Hollow Knight, it's the same thing that I've tried to explain on countless other episodes about countless things where something that was so novel, it almost doesn't matter how good your follow-up is, it's no longer novel. They did a great job adapting it to Hornet and making it very novel. I'm not saying it wasn't novel, but I still also think that in the way that Claire Obscure is completely novel, that even if they came out with a sequel that was better or very different, it's not novel anymore. So it's just the unfortunate second sibling sort of thing when it comes to franchises. So Silk Song's still fantastic, very, very, very good. But it's also if you didn't like the first one, there's not a chance in hell that the second one's going to be like for you instead. It's not
Gotcha.
different enough, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
And then I really want to give a shout out to another game to go complete opposite end, but to give something even more indie a shout out, as well as
Yeah.
something that is way more for the love of just fun and artisticness and stuff. I know that's, pardon me for waxing very intellectual there, but it's this silly, funny little game from late last year called Thank Goodness You're Here. Have you heard of this or seen it? It's all like animated and it looks almost like it could have been hand drawn, all of it. It takes place in England. You're this
I
tiny,
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
inexplicably yellow man who doesn't say a word. You're a silent protagonist. All you can do is jump and slap. And that's how
Hmm.
you interact with the world. And so that's instead of like a talking prompt, you just go up and slap somebody and they'll like talk with you. Or you slap
Hmm.
an object and it reacts. It's very funny, very witty. It's a love letter to silly little games that really are just for fun. There's no
Yeah.
deeper meaning. There's no this, is clearly about, theology. This is about the schism of blah blah. No, no, no.
Or
This is
grief, like
this
Expedition 33.
yeah, I mean, genuinely, like that, there's a lot to read into that and many other games. As we've talked, like Silent Hill, et cetera. We've talked about this ad nauseum at this point. So this is a other end of the spectrum of just silliness, lighthearted, no major mission, no, darkness, just fun, just a funny game to make you smile.
Next on our list is Best in Animation.
Love, Death, and Robots season 4. I love that they're still going. I love that they're still letting such different.
Oh, artists be artists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's essentially just like you do you. And
Yeah.
so between the range of not just the
I
animation
love this
styles, but
anthology
the
show too, for
approach
the
to
record.
different types of storytelling and these stories that are told, it is such a fun anthology that you can go just about wherever you're looking to go at this point with how many episodes. You can have the darker, you can have the more lighthearted, you can have the gorier or the, more just exploratory. There's a little bit of something for everybody at this point. And specifically from this newest season, there was I think the name was Zeke. It's like how Zeke found religion. It's this rad, semi-cosmic horror, possibly more like Lovecraftian, but it's like alternate World War II with super occult happenings in a really rad animation style. That episode really caught me and I was like, I'm really glad this show is still going. And then movies, I like to sort of look at both sides of a coin. I'm
Yeah.
very Libra. I want to give a shout out to a movie. That's why I led in with a show. But Bad Guys 2. It's
Okay.
actually, honestly, the first one, just, watched it because I have a kid. The second one, I was genuinely excited to like watch it and got some good actual laughs out of it. But the style of it is so cool. It's a lot. I really admire how far things have pushed. Kind of how like the Spider-Verse movies have also dabbled in. This one feels like an old comic. This one feels like
Hmm.
this style of animation, yet it's all still CG, so you can get very creative with it. So I like the style of it and how that plays in the world. It feels familiar. It feels like a forgotten story from your childhood. It was just a good, fun, enjoyable movie. So I pair that with Love, Death, and Robots.
Well, your second one pairs well with mine. And I think, again, this will be for what we cover on the show the most, the deep cuts, deep dives into deep cuts. I think this will surprise a lot of people. Mine, hands down, was K-pop Demon Hunters. I absolutely loved that film. And here's why, is because, if you really do a little digging, a little bit of a little homework, into the production of the film and the filmmakers and all this stuff, it actually does deserve, even though it's a very family friendly entry and it's very kid friendly. And again, we've talked about this on the show many, many times, me and Philip, me and Buck, that even though we tease it from time to time and we usually cover more of the really heady, psychological, existential kind of artistic endeavors that artists partake in, there is such a place for this kind of art. There is such a place for family friendly bubblegum pop kind of art, and K-pop Demon Hunters is a perfect example of that.
And also to your point at the beginning, talking about how, sometimes you're allowed to we're allowed to just have things that are nice, that are just there to enjoy.
Yeah.
Those things are supposed to be made, and people are allowed and supposed to have those. Like, again, not every movie needs to legitimately teach lessons or be deep and blah, blah, blah. Again, like you can have fun.
Yeah. We can have fun,
And
guys.
just enjoy it. Eat some popcorn and just have a nice time and go, man, that was fun.
That brings us to our kind of catch-all category, what we call best and miscellaneous, where it may be new to us. It may just be a more of a traditional genre in the arts or something that doesn't fit into the categories above or before. So we put it here.
I'm going to give a podcast a shout out just because I also don't exactly keep track of sculptures or paintings. I barely get out of where I live. There is a podcast called One Strange Thing. It is very calmly told. The narrator, she's got such a good voice for it. She's also the writer of it. So it's like that thing, like, for instance, I narrated your book.
Yeah.
You read something and you hear it in your tone. Sorry, I meant to say you write something and you hear it in a tone, and then you hear a rendition of it and you're like, okay, that's not how I would have said it, but it's not bad, right?
Yeah.
But so when you get to tell your own story, I just something about that I like, that it's like, this is how this lady wanted this story told.
Yeah.
And it's all approachable stuff. It's about pseudo paranormal type of stuff. Some of it's about alien encounters. Some of it's about just weird, like, oh, in this town, once every 15 years, it rains blood. Just the weird stuff that you might find.
Okay.
Yeah, right. It's just fun,
I
random
like it
stories,
already.
just random weird stories that this lady will tell you in about 20 to 25, 30 minutes. So it's like digestible. It's chill. It's not like too spooky. It's not like actual, he chopped her to pieces and blah, blah, blah. It's not that. So it's just it's a fun niche for people who, like myself, love spooky. I love horror movies in general, but this is horror adjacent. It's not true horror, but it's just a fun romp into the unknown, into the slightly dangerous, or just the weird and the unanswered a lot of the times too.
Okay.
And she actually happens to be apparently local to Georgia somewhere, I believe. So that's also kind of cool. So One Strange Thing.
So these three that I have in the miscellaneous category is definitely new to me. So guys, don't roast me in the comments, or do. It's okay. I kind of like it. Yeah, sometimes it's fun. Okay. With that being said, here are my three. So it's a musical that me and my wife saw while we were in New York City. It's called Hades Town. I had never even heard of it until my wife brought it onto my radar, and it was great. It has New Orleans style music. It takes a very famous, I believe, Roman Greek play, or at least characters, and it puts kind of this musical twist
Greek.
on it. I believe it is Orpheus, and I forgot the
Greek
character's name. Yeah. The next on my list is that of the culinary arts. So while we're in New York City too, I had the pleasure of going to a very famous French restaurant called La Bernardine. And until La Bernardine,
French for the Bernardine.
I don't know. I actually looked it up, but I forgot what it stands for. I think it's something really simple. For a long time, the best meal I'd ever had was at a restaurant in Thailand called 8020. And it wasn't until I went to this Michelin star restaurant in New York City that has been topped. So La Bernardine is the best meal I have ever had in my entire life.
Wow.
You're definitely going to pay a lot of money for that best meal, let me tell you. But it was worth every penny. The hype is true. There's a lot of things that are on the hype train in New York City that don't actually come to that fruition of being real to the hype, but La Bernardine is absolutely real to the hype. So check it out, guys. And we are developing a very special interview with a legacy artist that we're going to reveal probably early 2026. So next season, I want to say February. So the beginning of the season, we're going to release an interview with an artist named Penny Slinger. She's an amazing artist, and we're developing it right now. We're not quite ready, so we're going to save it for the next season. But in the meantime, there is a documentary about Penny Slinger's career. She's in her 70s now, but she had an amazing career, and she's still going to this day. And you can learn all about it in the documentary called Out of the Shadows. Penny Slinger, out of the shadows. And guys, there you have it. That is the best of 2025. We did it.
In an hour-ish
Guys.
nutshell.
Yeah, but I know there's a lot more. There's probably some things we missed. There's probably some things you want to tell us about. So please leave it in the comments. Give us an email. Throw us a tweet or whatever they call it now, an X. And just throw us the love. Throw us the recommendations, because there's what's great. What's great about this show is that we learn so much, and we learn
enrich
from
my
you
life.
guys. And yeah, we get to experience some new art that is new to us. So we appreciate you guys so much, and we thank you as always for listening. I want to thank, of course, my guest, Mr. Philip Church, philipchurch.com.
Always happy to be here. Here's to another great year.
Here's to another great year. We'll cheers to that as the ball drops. So don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things. You know what to do, guys. If you want to get a hold of Mr. Philip Church, you can do so at his website at philipchurch.com. That's one L in Philip, don't forget. And if you'd like to sponsor our little love child or be on the show, you can always reach out to us at novodayproductions@gmail.com. And before we completely sign off, again, a special note, this is going to be our last episode of the season before we go on a long, well-deserved break. So again, just like I said in the outro, we love you guys. We love getting to know you guys, and you guys are the best goddamn audience we could ask for. So thank you so much for listening. So until next time, you know what to do. Be good to each other. And as always, good luck and Godspeed. We love you.
Art of the Beholder is brought to you by Novo Day Productions. Created by Novo Day and Theodore T. Buckingham. Written, directed, produced, and edited by Novo Day and the NDP Collective. Starring Philip Church of philipchurch.com, that's Philip with one L. Alexandra Parsons of alexandraparsons.com, ALEXANDRA-PARSONS.com. With special contributions by Theodore T. Buckingham. Music by A Company, Instagram handle A_CO_music_. Logo design by Thom Justice of thejusticecompany.com, JESTUS. Thank you again for listening. All rights reserved. Art of the Beholder is brought to you by Zencastr. Zencastr is our go-to tool for remote podcast recordings. What's great is that you can record separate audio and video tracks, and it's all backed up on a secured cloud, so you never lose your hard work. Even better, it's easy to use, and there's nothing to download. So go to Zencastr.com, ZENCASTR.com, and use promo code Art of the Beholder to get 30% off your first 3 months with a pro account. This show is supported by philipchurch.com. Need a professional voice for your project? Whether it's a commercial, podcast, audiobook, or other, I deliver high-quality voiceover and narration services that match your vision. And with fast turnarounds, crisp audio, and a range of tones and styles to suit your needs, isn't it time to bring your story or brand to life? So let's get going. Visit philipchurch.com, that's Philip with one L, to find demos, samples, and contact information. And with this voice, let's make that next project unforgettable. Are you ready to elevate your style and make a lasting impression in fashion? Ready for change? To find the best you? Whether it's creating stunning designs or crafting the perfect wardrobe, AP Design is here to transform your vision into reality. From everything from sustainable goods to personal consulting, Alexandra Parsons of AP Design aims to bring innovation and elegance to your every project. So let her help you stand out with ideas that are bold, timeless, and uniquely yours. That's Alexandra, ALEXANDRA-Parsons, PARSONS.com. Because great design isn't just seen, it's felt. Oh, Nova, we forgot the gems!